Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu Love, Life and Other Stories, dein Podcast für mehr Inspiration und Lebensmut. Ich bin Katrin Andrea Preisner, systemischer Coach und Gründerin von Heart and Mind Journey. In meinem Podcast spreche ich mit Menschen, die ihrem Herzen gefolgt sind, Träume verwirklicht und Hindernisse überwunden haben. Manchmal gegen den Strom, aber immer mit Mut und Herz. Schön, dass du dabei bist. Lass uns jetzt gemeinsam eintauchen in die Geschichten, die das Leben schreibt. Hello and a warm welcome to a new episode of Love, Life and Other Stories. Today I have a very special guest like Sean Tao. We became friends 4 years ago, I think, on my longer trip to Central America. There I met him in Mexico. We stayed in the same hostel and then we became friends. And yeah, I think it's a very special friendship between each other because we are from so far. He's from the States, I'm from Germany. And funnily, we had the chance to meet every year almost again in another country. So yeah, and I still feel so close to him. And yeah, I'm always very inspired and excited to meet him. So I'm very happy that you are today my guest. A warm welcome to you, Sean.
Good to see you again, Catherine.
Yeah, maybe you want to give us like a short introduction about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you're doing currently, maybe also where you live right now.
Yeah, of course. I am originally from the US, born and raised, but my family, they were from Cambodia. So they survived the Khmer Rouge. For people that don't know about the Khmer Rouge, it was a big war that was happening, genocide practically happening in Cambodia during the mid to late 70s. And my parents, they didn't know each other at the time, but separately they were taken. They were the dictatorship took over the country and decided that the country should become an agrarian society, which is a farming society. So this prosperous country known as Cambodia overnight became a completely different country. They separated the smarter people, the doctors, the lawyers, the teachers, and killed them all, and decided that all the dumber people would just work the land, and that's how they lived their lives for 4 years. And so they were able to escape after 4 years. They survived. They gained amnesty from the UN and was able to choose any place they wanted to live in the world. And they chose the US because I had other family members there. So they were able to be sponsored and brought over there. I was basically born into the a donut shop owning family. If you want to do a little movie watching, there's a movie out called The Donut King, chronicles the story of Cambodians moving from the U.S. to go to moving to the U.S. from Cambodia to achieve the American dream. And we were one of the success stories, me and my family. I was born into it. Ever since I was little, I was in a donut shop. I remember being a baby and a child running around the donut shop. And my parents taught me at the age of 7 to learn how to use the cash register. So that's when I started working there. At 13, I started making donuts, and at 22, I was the owner of the donut shop and ran it with my family. And now we sold the business in 2021, a family decision. We had it for over 40 years. And I decided that I wanted to change my life. I became a minimalist. I decided that I didn't want to have all these belongings anymore, and I wanted to be a nomad, and I wanted to see the world. So I was able to meet Catherine, and many other travelers who inspired me to live this type of lifestyle. They just love it so much. They love meeting people. They love seeing new things. They love discovering things about themselves. They love learning how to grow in different ways. Little things for me like riding a motorbike or hiking a Catenango, and meeting amazing people. Those are things that I've just gained from these travels. And so I'm so happy that I was able to make that decision and kind of start a new chapter of my life in terms of being a nomad. And that was about 2.5 to 3 years ago. And yeah, having a great time and enjoying Berlin at the moment. I'll be here for 2 months. Yeah, seeing what the city has to offer me.
Cool. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
the
of
introduction. I have many questions, so maybe I start with the first one.
course.
So your parents survived and came then to the States. And yeah, how did it start? Like you told me, I remember in a few conversations that it was very common between people from Cambodia that they opened a donut shop, but how did it work? How did they start? I mean, arriving in a complete new country far away from your own culture. I mean, Cambodian and the States are very different culture wise. So how was it for them and how they, yeah, also could start then this kind of business?
Yeah, it was very difficult. They didn't know the language, they didn't know the culture. Things were so different for them. My mom tells me the story, like her first words in English were glazed donut, twist, bar. Those are types of donuts. Like she didn't know how to say a sentence. Even before saying hello, she knew these words. And so we had one of my great uncles. His name's Ted Ngoy. He came first. He actually skipped the war. He came the day the dictator took over the country, Pol Pot. He left the country and was able to escape through Thailand, and he got to the U.S. And so he had his own journey, and that's in the movie and everything. And he opened up a donut shop because he felt he loved the taste of it. He loved the energy of it. He loved the early mornings. And so when people started escaping from Cambodia, they heard about his story, which was him being successful from having this donut shop or multiple donut shops. So he would also help Cambodians by renting out and having them work at the shops. And then they would kind of have their own ownership. They would pay him a certain amount every month, and they would also then keep the rest. And that was kind of the system that he ran, and it became successful. My family's found that there was a market for these types of donut shops, and their most successful one is DK's Donuts in Santa Monica. We're no longer the owners of it, but we have other Cambodians took over, and they're continuing the lineage.
How was it for you? Because you're born in the West already, but you have like Asian roots. How was it for you growing up with those two perspectives?
Yeah, I think even to this day, there's an underlying, I don't want to say racism, but like questioning your race. It's kind of sad because I see pretty much everybody as equals, but I guess people are curious sometimes because, oh, I say I'm American, but they automatically think, oh, Americans are, look a certain way and they don't look like me, but when I'm there, there's millions of Asian Americans. So it was fine. Like most people in my circle growing up were acceptive of me. I think what I realized on my travels is I guess people are very curious because and confused a lot of the times because I sound American, but I don't look American. So I always run into that, and they're always asking, "Hey, where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from America." And then it should end there. They should just accept that statement, but they always ask, "Oh, but where are you really from?" Just because of the way I look. And then, I have to give them my story. I have Cambodia roots, Chinese roots, Thai roots. And then at that point, they're satisfied. But I think it's more of a curiosity. But I guess I just wish people would just accept that, oh, yeah, I'm American. There's other people that look like me in America, just like in Germany. There's like all types of people. And if you say you're German, cool, you're German, like totally fine with that. But yeah, we had some issues too growing up, like people would say, bad names or derogatory terms. But you kind of just live with it, you dust it off, you move on, and you try to be as successful as possible and try to be a good person back to people.
How was this for you as a child when like other children called you bad names, or how was it for you? Did it
I think it was
affect you?
tough. Yeah, I think it was tough because you don't look in the mirror. It's like a foreign concept. Like you see other kids and you see them as children like you. You don't see them as black, white, purple, whatever color they are. And then so once you start getting treated or looked at differently, you're kind of confused, like, oh, and then you look in the mirror and you're like, actually, yeah, you look different. I feel like I don't sound different. I feel like I don't act different. I want to go have fun. I want to play sports. I want to do cool things just like them. But um, just the way I look, maybe some people have their own idea of me. Like eat, oh, you must eat rice because you're Asian. Yeah, of course I eat rice. That's part of my heritage. Doesn't define me. Doesn't mean anything, like everybody eats rice, but or smaller eyes or whatever. So you just deal with it. And you have to find compassion in a sense. I think it was tough growing up with it, but as I grow older, I just take it as people being curious and wondering, about my history and my life, and that's okay. So I've grown out of it. But yeah, being a kid, it's just confusing as well because, you see people as equals, but then they don't see you as an equal for some reason, and you just have to figure out why, and then you start understanding why.
Yeah, this is, I can, I mean, I never faced this, but I read so much about it, and I think it's still different when you experience this. But I think this is so interesting. Even in the States, no, there are so many countries or people grown up, even if they have a different skin color and everything, but there's still this differentiation. And it's so interesting, know that I believe completely that we are all equal, we are all one, and that there's still in this whole world so much differentiation between nationalities, cultures, between man and woman, and that we still don't believe in this concept from, yeah, from very young age. So this is very interesting. I think there's still so much to do in this world that we really got this same foundation, yeah, or same base, that we really treat each other as the same and equal, yeah.
Yeah, I think as more time goes by, and more mixing goes on, like communities living next to each other, understanding each other, I think that's when we'll make strides. And the whole political climate is not really doing us any justice right now. And hopefully, just people become more accepting of everybody. Like that's how it should be. But I can only really control my own behavior and be proud of the way I act out there. So that means approaching it with compassion, empathy, acceptance, and just like living my life like that. And then if I ever run into that kind of stuff, just maybe try to explain it to them, or don't even give them the ability to have me listen to it. Completely ignore them, because if they're saying hurtful things, they should be ignored, because there's just no place for it.
Yeah, based also on ignorance of, yeah, ignorance of other
Mm.
things, or like,
Yeah,
thank
definitely
you for
ignorance.
sharing, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Very,
welcome.
very interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, you said already with 7 years you were involved in the family business. How was this for you, like working with your family? I mean, we know the relationships of our family, sometimes it's not the most easiest one. Even
No,
they're the most, yeah, strongest one, which like stays our whole life. But how was this for you growing into this industry, yeah, with a very young age, and then now you're over 30 and you're done with it. So how was this way for you?
it was what you grew up in, so it's all you knew. And as you grow older and you start, thinking for yourself, you realize, oh, it's not easy. It's actually harmful almost to the family relationships, because it becomes a business. Like anytime we would talk about anything, it would be about business. It wouldn't be even about our personal lives and how we felt. And we just continued on because that's all we knew. And we had different roles in our company. And I think in a sense, sometimes there's a little bit of jealousy involved, or, like if one person works more than the other person, then there's kind of a feeling between those people. And I think that's what arose a lot of the times when during having a business together. It wasn't easy, but it was a way to make a living, and you kind of just brushed it off, and you had to continue on. And there's some days I didn't talk to, some months I didn't talk to my mom or my sister or my dad, and we ran a business together because we had some kind of argument or whatever. It happens. In terms of going back and doing it all over again, I would probably step away and maybe end it earlier or maybe have better communication. But it's not definitely not the easiest thing. It was very tough. I attest my success to it. It gave me a head start in life. I was able to purchase a house, in my first few years of working there. So I was able to make strides in a financial sense, but in terms of emotionally and feeling wise, yeah, it took a toll on the family. And I feel like with it not being in the picture the past 4 years now, there's a lot of healing going on. And I think that's what we needed as a family. And I'm glad it ended when it did, but I also don't really regret going through it because I did learn a lot. Like I feel like you just grow up so fast. People start working at 18. I worked when I was 7. So, I feel like I'm 50 something now in terms of work experience, right? So, yeah, uh, I don't regret it at all. But I think everything happens for a reason. And when it was time to end it, I think it was a good time to end it.
Yeah, now you're on the road full time and not your body going home, no, right? It's just a few times. So how was it for you now? Because it's also change of identity. And I just had yesterday the conversation that when we transform our identity, even if it's on our based on our own decision or that we really forced this to do, it's still also a process now to changing the identity from being a businessman, having this family business running, being in the States from, yeah, you said now you live very minimalism, having not few things, meeting people, traveling the world. So how was this for you when you made the decision?
It felt like the right thing to do. Today, I look back at that version of myself when I was having businesses, and even back to university, high school, all these different points in my life. I feel like those people are dead. I feel like we are kind of like a cat. We can be a cat in having all these different lives. I just feel like change is actually a good thing. It's not change, it's an evolution. I think I just love the place I'm in right now. I felt like when I had all those things that, society tells us, hey, you're supposed to have a house, you're supposed to have kids, you're supposed to be in a relationship, you're supposed to have all these things. I just felt like when I got rid of everything, every little piece of clothing that I had, every little piece of furniture that I had, every time somebody else took it or I sold it and I gave it away, I felt so much lighter. I felt like you don't own things, they actually own you. Every time you have to move a place, you have to make sure you have all these things with you. You have to take account of it. And that becomes your life. It's just managing things. I didn't want to manage things anymore. I wanted to manage my lifestyle. I wanted to manage my health. I wanted to manage my relationships. And those are the things that aren't material things. And so by getting rid of all the material things, you start really focusing on the real deep things, which is everything that I just mentioned. And so I could really not have that in as a taking up space in my brain. So and I saw it from other travelers, like people just having a backpack of things, having a few pieces of clothing, doing things so simply, and also doing this lifestyle with far less things, like, either working remotely, being a digital nomad, working seasonal work, and then for like 6 months, and then traveling for 6 months. They're doing so much more with so much less. That actually inspired me to kind of start this journey because I didn't have to work anymore. I could do this, and with the means of which, selling the business, investments or whatever, I can do this without having to do all these things. So, if they're so brave to do all these things, why can't I do it? And so my fellow travelers that I've met, those are the people that have really inspired me. And I love listening to their stories, listening to the journey, where they're going next, where they've been. Those things are so interesting to me. It makes my heart flutter. It makes my skin tingle, these like stories, and it makes me super happy. And where else am I going to meet these travelers? Not at home, not in Los Angeles. I'm going to meet them on the road. I'm going to meet them in Berlin. I'm going to meet them in Copenhagen. I'm going to meet them in Lombok. I'm going to meet them in Chiang Mai. I'm going to meet them in some random place. And that's where the conversations happen, and that's
In
where
the
all the
hostel
magic
in
happens.
Ciudad de Mexico.
In the hostels for sure. Yeah, every hostel, definitely. People are so open-minded, and you get the best versions of themselves when you meet them on their traveling. Maybe if they're in Munich and they're working, they're going to be grumpy. If you meet them in the jungle in Central America, they're probably going to be happy, and you get that version of them. And that's what I want, and that's the best version of themselves. And it's great to share the moments with people like that.
Very beautiful. Yeah, I also think so that like during traveling, you become the real version of yourself. Like I see this in so many people. People do more things which they would never do back home, and they are different. Yeah, and I think sometimes it's very interesting. No, why we come. Of course, we have all different versions of us, but why we change so much when we are going home then again, or having a daily life, or more this, yeah, whatever life. But that's very interesting. Yeah.
I think sometimes life back home is just how society kind of wants you to be. And I think when you're traveling, you can actually have this like open-minded thinking of you don't have to think about work. You don't have to think about, your routine. You kind of just make it up as you go along. And of course, you want to do things that you want to do. And so you start thinking, oh, wow, like it's really nice to go to the beach at 8 a.m. and just go in the water in this early. I don't get to do this back home. And then you start falling in love with different things and different people, and that's just the beauty of it. You just get put in a setting in which maybe you need to be in, that that's what you really needed to be in a beach setting instead of a mountain setting or a city setting. Maybe you resonate better with that. I think people just don't realize until you get into that feeling and you look around, you're like, wow, this feels really good to be here. This place is beautiful. I love it here. And sometimes people just never go home, and that's great. I love that, because then they can just decide, okay, I want to be here longer, and that's how they should live their lives, where they feel where they're supposed to be, not what
Mm.
they grew up in, what people tell them to be in. They should just go and feel and see what how the heart feels when they're there, and follow that. I think that's very important, and I think people need that opportunity to do something like that more often.
Yeah, to get out of your comfort zone and see what is behind. Yeah, or thing. Of
Yeah,
course, and I think many people, especially from the West, we are like struggling with, oh, how should I finance that, and how should I do this, and what other people think maybe, or maybe I have done a huge gap in my CV. How this look like, and is this really worth to do it? So many people, I think, are scared to do that. What would you recommend when you have like very few financial resources, and maybe not like yeah, maybe not
that's
having the luck selling a business or having some property where you get income from?
that's tough. I feel like I got extremely lucky in my journey, but again, I meet people that are on extreme budgets when they're traveling. I think they do need to work. They need to find something. They need to get into a trade that uh, will will give them the opportunity to do something like this. There's also like working visas that they can apply for in, say, Australia or Singapore or Canada. There's opportunities out there, but I think a lot of people are big procrastinators. They always want to wait. Oh, I'll do that next week. Oh, I'll do that next month. Oh, I'll do that next year. No, apply for it now. Apply for it yesterday. Like just go out and do it. Go on that first trip, even if it's in a town right next to you, a town 1 hour away, 2 hours away, where you can go for just 2 days, where you can just take the bus to, just to see a new place. That's the start of something big. That's a way of tasting something. You'll never know how a lifestyle like this would be like unless you take those first steps. I remember solo traveling and this concept of solo traveling. I was like, people really travel by themselves and go stay in these places? Like that must be so scary. And now that's all I want to do. I don't want to travel with anybody. I want to just travel by myself. And I just went in a car. I believe I had my dog with me, and we just went to different cities around Los Angeles. And I was like, this is really nice. Like I'm staying one night here. I get to go see the this little area. I've never been in this area. I get to eat at this cool new place. And then I go to this other town and I get to eat at this place, and wow, there's a beach here, and look over here, there's a hike, and I'll go on like a 3 or 4 hour hike with my dog, and I come back home and like, wow, that was amazing. I just experienced 3 cities in 3 days, and that was just the weekend. Everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. And then, I decided to go on my big first solo trip to Europe. I did Madrid, Dublin, San Sebastian, Vienna, and I was blown away. And I met so many amazing people. Hostels is a great way of saving money and being on a budget. And just, yeah, somebody might snore, somebody might come in the middle of the night, but these adventures you go on with people are just, it'll change your life. It will absolutely change your life. And if you don't like it, then then you've tasted it. Then you're like, oh, I've tasted this. I don't like it. And then you go back to your normal life. But I think there's a bigger chance of people liking this lifestyle than not liking it, because you just, I don't know, it's this creative side of you that comes out, where you're just seeing different things when you're out there, and you're seeing different cultures, and you're like asking questions, and you're meeting cool people, and you're exposed to them as well. It's just such a educational experience, this whole traveling thing.
Yeah, I
And
also would say it's
yeah.
not just for fun. I think, of course, it's also fun, no question on that. But I think it makes you much more growing, like, because as you said, now you learn more about different cultures, either from travelers or the country where you're going to. And also you see yourself now how you behave in situations which you're not familiar to, or when there is no ATM and you have to pay, or like basic things, or finding a new place. Like, I mean, now with internet and everything is much easier. When I remember earlier, when there was no internet or booking.com app
Mhm.
or whatever, so it was much harder, but still you managed. And there I would say, like, for my whole life I learned the most, not in the universities I have been,
Mm.
or like at my jobs or whatever. I learned it on the road now, where
Hmm.
you really have to face things, where you listen to stories which, like, sometimes crushing your heart, and you appreciate then your life much more than before, and
Yeah,
all the things. Yeah.
yeah, I remember going to China to visit, and there was no Google Translate yet, and I don't know Chinese, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is like this is crazy." But I survived, you get through. You make hand gestures, you try to speak broken English, and you try to communicate somehow, and it ends up figuring it out itself. And that's the story you bring with you, and you
Mm.
always remember those moments, like the moments in which were not easy, were not pleasant. Those are the moments you remember the most.
Right,
Yeah.
completely. And I
Yeah.
think they are also the ones we grow the most. Now, also what you said, like, that I think this can apply for everything in life. Know that we sometimes procrastinate so much that you think, oh,
Mm.
tomorrow is a better day, or the next year, or maybe when I'm older, then I will do that. But as you said, no, the good thing is, like, already yesterday you should took the step. And I think this applies
Mm.
for everything what we do. And you also mentioned one thing which I completely agree, like listening to your heart, because deep down you know the answer. And when you have courage, to have enough courage to really listen to it, there's like so much to explore, and it feels also more aligned with everything. Then your life feels more like a flow and not like a challenge after each other. I think there in life will be always challenges,
Mm.
but I think, yeah, when we really able to listen what is deep down, then we have the answers. Then we don't have to search so much all the time. Yeah.
Exactly. The universe kind of puts it out there for you. You just have to go
Yeah.
get it. A lot of the times it's just right in front of you.
Yeah, there are always signs. You never
Yeah,
miss the
always
signs.
signs. Yeah.
Always.
Yes.
You just
Yeah.
have to open your eyes. They are there. Yeah.
Yeah. So easy. But I think a lot of people make it more difficult, or don't see what's right in front of them.
Hmm.
And it should just be easier, when you do stuff like this, it just everything becomes a little bit more simpler. I think people want a more simple life.
Yeah. Also, what you said was very cool with the things managing. Oh, I think we can continue like forever. So
3 hour
I want to.
podcast.
But luckily, we are friends. So to be continued, or we have to do a second episode, maybe like this. But I want to ask you a question which I always ask all my guests in my podcast. So
Of course.
when you could give from the perspective of now, like today on the 2nd of July, like the 18-year-old John, when you would want to leave a message to him, which message would it be?
Life isn't just where you live, isn't where you are. There's a whole world out there. Get the courage to go out. Yeah, your life is comfortable. Yes, you have your group of friends here and you're having a great time. But go outside, enjoy places far, far away, places that people will never visit. Go there and see how it feels and meet those people. You'll be blown away at how much you'll learn and how much you'll grow from that. Just because you're at uni and you're partying and you think you're having a great time, that's very shallow. Like there's so much more out there and you should definitely go discover it. I wish I found traveling. I wish I found this outside world, different cultures way earlier. I just had no idea of it. I didn't know it existed. I knew on a map, yeah, there's Europe, there's Africa, there's Asia. Cool, all the way over there. That's their lives. I have no part of it. But now I'm the complete opposite. I want to be in all these cool places. I want to be around foreigners. I want to be talking to people with broken English or learning little words and phrases of theirs. I want to do all that stuff. That's what's interesting to me now. And yeah, I wish I had that at an earlier age. I started late when I traveling. That's probably why I'm trying so hard to catch up to my fellow European friends. But I guess better late than never. Just so happy to be in my position right now to be able to experience all these things.
Thank you so much,
You're welcome,
for
Catherine.
your wisdom, for your being, and
Yes.
for the interview. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for having me. You're you're a freaking angel. Like I have so much love for you, Catherine, and I love what you do, and I love the journey you're on, and I've seen so much growth in the last 4 years. No, you're a beautiful soul, Catherine. I hope you always remember that. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you. I just can give the compliment back now. Very beautiful soul, yeah. Thank you. I'm very happy and very glad that we met. Very grateful for that. Yeah. And still together on the road. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück aus der Folge mit Jean. Ich hoffe, du fandest die Folge auch so inspirierend und hast so viel für dich mitnehmen können. Auch wenn ich Jean schon sehr lange kenne und viele der Geschichten natürlich kannte, bin ich trotzdem irgendwie so inspiriert aus diesem Gespräch rausgegangen. Und ja, Jean und ich freuen uns riesig, wenn du die Podcast-Folge kommentierst, entweder auf Spotify oder YouTube. Und natürlich hilft es dem Podcast extrem, wenn du den Podcast abonnierst auf Spotify oder YouTube oder am besten beides. Und ja, wenn du dich für meine Arbeit als systemischer Coach interessierst, sei es für ein Coaching oder für systemische Familienaufstellung oder für eine längere Begleitung, dann schau super gerne auf meiner Webseite www.katrinpreisner.com vorbei oder meinem Instagram-Kanal Heart and Mind Journey. Ansonsten wünsche ich dir jetzt heute erstmal einen ganz, ganz tollen Tag. Fühl dich vom Herzen umarmt. Deine Katrin.